What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another video in the Baldur's Gate 3 series. And today we're going to be asking the question, should you do the Mountain Pass? Because we've previously done the episode on the Underdark a few months ago. I did that video on should you do the Underdark, and I wanted to give a counter to that and talk about the Mountain Pass today. Now, what's interesting about these two, without getting into too much spoiler territory, is that you can do both if you want to, and if you're doing a completionist run, you probably do want to do both. I'm ignoring that lady for now because I don't want to spoil too much of the story here, so I just want to get a nice view out over everything here so that you can see what we're talking about.
This view's almost worth the walk.
The view is almost worth the walk, yeah. So, when you get to around level 5, in the first act of Baldur's Gate 3, you're going to be presented with the option to pursue the storyline towards Act 2. You need to go towards Moonrise Towers. That's not a secret. That information's been out there for a while. But how you get to Moonrise Towers is up to you. So you can choose to go through the Underdark, or you can choose to go through the Mountain Pass. Both areas are meant to be done around level 5. You could do these at level 4 if you're really careful, Mountain Pass or Underdark, but around level 5 is better if you want to have the best experience without, continually, banging your head against the wall. And knowing that you can do both, this is the key here. You can choose to do both of these areas. However, when you before you move to Act 2, I should say, but understand that when you move to the Mountain Pass, you do get a prompt on the screen that reminds you that, hey, you're about to go this way. It's going to progress the timeline and the storyline. Make sure there's nothing else you want to do in the Act 1 map, which is where you can connect to the Underdark as well. So if you're going to do both, just bear that in mind. But it doesn't really matter what order you do them in, because you can always turn around and go back. But what I want to show you here is just the view, because it's a pretty big place. I would argue that it might seem as though the Underdark is bigger, because it's very condensed in an underground space, but they're both about the same size, and just depending on how much of a completionist you are, you could get anywhere from 10 to 20 hours out of these maps, just depending on how crazy you want to go. So without spoiling too much, should you do the Mountain Pass compared to the Underdark? So if you're going to be doing a roleplay specific character who's not trying to be a completionist, then you are going to want to pick one or the other. The Underdark is, I would argue, the more logical choice if you are following the good path, because you're going to be coming up against characters who are very obviously evil, and you probably wouldn't be aligned with them. Now, one could argue that you might choose to align with them. That's not necessarily true all the way, I suppose. But when you come to the Mountain Pass, you're going to be dealing with one particular adversary who has taken over a specific part of the map. I'm trying not to say where or anything like that, but I will say, and this doesn't really spoil anything, this is the Githyanki encampment that Lae'zel has been looking for ever since early access 3 years ago, 3.5 years ago. That's located here in the Mountain Pass. Now, the Githyanki encampment, if you go in there in an antagonistic manner, is not an easy place to be, which is why I say you really need to be level 5 or above. Now, my first playthrough, I went through and I had Lae'zel in my party, so it was easy for me to get in there because I had Lae'zel. I do not have Lae'zel in the group with this party, and I'm going to be choosing to do this a completely different way. Now, this group I am currently progressing through the Underdark with, and I will be coming here and doing this area next because I actually am doing a completionist journey on these characters as opposed to a roleplay specific journey. Because I've already done the roleplay specific journey in my first playthrough. The thing here with the Mountain Pass is that it's more spread out than the Underdark. Also, it's light time outside, and you can see there's just these amazing views in any direction, no matter which way you look. I mean, coming out here and exploring, there's that building down there, there's this building over here, there's going up here, there's the Mountain Pass behind us that we came down from. There's a couple of entrances here, depending on which way you want to go through. Move that screen over. And there's a signpost that tells you directions to something. So how you choose to come in here is about the same as the Underdark. There are multiple paths to entering the area, and once you get in here, you'll find that there is quite a lot to explore. And like I said, it's very much spread out, and there is a waystone as soon as you get here. So if you want to go back to the other area, you can. And then this is an example. If you ever decide you want to go back to the Act 1 map, you can come over here, you can run to this bridge, or you can just fast travel if you've got your waypoints, and we can go back to like Joaquin's Rest, which is on it's on the top side of the map for Act 1. This is definitely a more light and bright environment, and you've got a lot of outdoor space to explore. The Underdark is more obviously dark and clammy, and you're going to find more of your traditional Forgotten Realms bad guys down there. Now, I personally prefer the Underdark compared to the Mountain Pass for one reason only. For those of us who played Baldur's Gate 2, you'll remember this, but going to the Underdark in Baldur's Gate 2 was a big deal, especially the big fight that you have down there, the spellcasting arena where there's like the gladiator ring, but it's for spellcasters. Taking a wizard down there and dominating the drow wizards and just kicking the living shit out of them in spellcasting fights was so amazing. And you came up against the mind flayers, the Githyanki, and you also came up against the Yuan-ti, and no, the Yuan-ti were different. Hang on, what am I thinking of? The some beholders, the mind flayers. There's a mind flayer colony down there, if I remember correctly. There's some nasty stuff down in the Underdark and Baldur's Gate 2. And they've done a very good job with Baldur's Gate 3 of holding true to that spirit of the Underdark being a very dangerous place. Quick commercial break, everyone, to celebrate and give thanks to all of these amazing people who keep me on the air full time. Really appreciate the support. All you got to do is join as a member. You get access to private videos. You can also do super thanks on any upload or super chats and stickers on any live stream or premiere you see. And beyond that, don't forget we're multi-streaming over on Twitch now, so you can support over there as well. Thanks so much to everybody. Let's get back to the video at hand. And in some ways, I feel like the Mountain Pass can feel a little less dangerous in comparison. The difference here, I would argue, is that you have a greater condensation. Condensation? It's not the word I'm looking for. You have congregation. You have a greater congregation of enemies in one specific place in the Mountain Pass map that you have to take care of, as opposed to everything sort of being spread out in the Underdark. There is no, in terms of do you have to do one or the other? No, you like I said, you can do both. How in whichever order you choose is another important thing. But at the same time, I don't know that anyone would have a reason to come to the Mountain Pass unless you're following in the footsteps of the Githyanki, because the sort of the canon route that is suggested to you as you deal with things in Act 1 is to avoid the dangers of the road. You would take the Underdark to get to Moonrise Towers in a safer manner. And the game makes it sound as though the Mountain Pass is the more dangerous of the routes. I don't know that I actually think that that's the case. I think they're both equally fun and equally dangerous, but I would also say that you need to be around level 5 before you go into both areas. Level 4, you could probably get away with the Underdark. I don't know that I would come to the Mountain Pass at level 4. You should probably be level 5 here because of various threats and dangers. But the good thing for you, those who are new players, is if you want to do them both, you can. But if you are a roleplay specific character, you don't have to. You can do one and then save the other for your second playthrough. I've done both in almost every scenario just because I like to do both and I have the time on my hands. But not everybody does. So if you want to streamline your gameplay and you want to deal with dark, nasty critters in the deep, dark depths of caves, go for the Underdark. And if you want to have open skies and wildlife around you and the wind and the trees and feel like you're more in an open environment, then definitely go with the Mountain Pass, because this is a more, I'd say the ambiance is a lot better here in the Mountain Pass in comparison, because you're getting all of these open air views and everything else. And I think if we go this way, you end up getting into combat. It's been a while since it's been over here. I want to see if I can get any views over here, if we're just going to get shoved straight into combat. Hang on, we're going. We're gonna see things. Oh, nope, this leads back to the Goblin Caves, so we're good. Anyway, Mountain Pass, totally worth it. You should do it if you haven't done it, and if you're doing a completionist version, definitely do it. That's my take on things. Like, subscribe, hit the bell icon so you never miss an update. Daily streams at 8 a.m., playing lots of different games. Check out the playlist. See you here and on Twitch. Till next time, everybody, stay safe. Happy gaming.